Kiran, can you hear me?
Yes, Mahesh, very clear.
Awesome. Clear. Harsha, long time. Harsha, I said long time. Harsha didn't respond. He doesn't like me now. Harsha, say hi. You can hear me, right? So I am good. Swati, long time too. Awesome. We are on time. Can you all hear me? Maybe no.
Very clear, Mahesh.
Awesome. If you just joined, okay, now we have all of people coming. Tadapya will be here in a second. We admit everybody. There are some utter pilots, which I hate, but we'll admit it because I can't just weed them out. Priyanka, no, not to deny. Sham is here. Awesome. How have you been, Harsha? Harsha, say something. Maybe we have a clone of him now. He was building so many of clones that we don't even see him. He just named him Harsha. Swati, say hi. Maybe it's just me and Kiran otherwise.
Hello.
Long time. Good to
Okay.
see you.
Thank
We're
you.
going to talk about Microsoft today. We could have done this session together. See, I got the t-shirt.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I was just looking at my wardrobe and I was like, wardrobe as if I have a lot. I have like 5 t-shirts, but then I was like, should I take it or not? And then I was like, you know, that hey, let's take it. Let's because last time I sounded so biased towards Google that I wanted to be as biased as possible towards Microsoft today, so that this forum becomes the forum where I give my personal opinions. None of this is affiliated or are part of anything that I'm doing with any of the company I worked in past or I'm working in future. This is just me showing that I'm a fan. And today we're gonna present a fan perspective. So what I want to do today is a couple of things. One is this idea that if you really want to be a good AIPM, you really need to know what is going in your ecosystem. And ecosystem is basically figuring out what are the largest player, how are they solving, what are the biggest problems we need to solve as from AI, what are the ripe opportunities for AI, and once we know them, can we actually go and solve them, and who else are solving them because we don't want to solve problems which are already solved, or what can we know from them and solve the next big thing, or at least take the solutions and make our life better. That's understanding of ecosystem. There's a lot going on in the world about AI. So last time I talked about Google I/O, and we talked about a lot about like the strategy where things fit in. Today I thought I will take it one more level up and make it more interesting. So what I thought is maybe we all read together. Hi Jyotsna, hi Haritha. So thank you for joining. So today what we're going to do is we're going to read the blog together, 5 minutes. It's a small blog, which will talk about all the announcements that Microsoft did for Build 2024, and then we will do a small exercise where we will try to see what what Microsoft mission is, who their ideal customer is, and if what is their strategy, and try to fit in that strategy where these announcements fit in their strategy. And I will just make it as simple strategy as possible, and I will give you we'll work on a paper or work on a document, and we'll try to fit or debate what announcement fit into which wall block and why they are doing this. And some of this may not be even rational because sometimes people do stupid things, including Microsoft, but most of them should fit into some kind of strategy. So we learn three things, basically three takeaways. One is we understand the ecosystem by reading the blog, understanding what Microsoft is doing, because Microsoft is one of the leading players in this race, or this not race, but actually this new way of doing things. And I think what they are doing is pretty important to everybody. So that's one takeaway. Second is understanding, if you are an AI company, or how you define your strategy. And third is like understand like strength and weakness in this case, where incumbents like Microsoft has strength and where they fail, which gives opportunities for new players like you and me. Or if we are building our own things, where can we actually still play, and which are the games that they are going after. So if we want to play, at least have a strategy, or at least have an answer to them saying, hey, let's not do this part because Swati is solving it. Swati, say hi to Swati. Swati works for Microsoft. If Garima is there, she also works for Microsoft. I know two people in this community who work for Microsoft. Those two I know. If somebody else works for Microsoft, please raise your hand. I will point to you. I will ask you questions. I will validate my ideas through you. I know you don't represent Microsoft in this call. It will be just my take. But before I go ahead, Shilan is here. And again, I want to thank everybody. We had just had a session of 90 minutes, which never lasts 90 minutes. It always gets into more. Uh, and around 4 or 5 people we couldn't have in our last cohort because we wanted to have less people in the cohort. 30 was our limit. We ended up with more than that. So this time, Chilan has good news for people who we could not take last time. So I will hand it over to Chilan while I get you ready for the session in 2 minutes. Chilan, all
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so as you know, the last cohort was sold out. So I was getting questions when will be the date of the next cohort. So I was just like figuring, finally, we figure out together what makes sense for the next date of the cohort. It will be August 17. And I'll drop the link on the chat box shortly too. So if you want to join this, I mean, obviously, if you're in the cohort, you don't have to join again. But then if you have the friends who wanted to join, make sure to apply there. So I have your name in the system and I will remember to like save a spot for you. And then reach out to me for a community special. If you are currently in this community or you refer a friends, I count you. So I haven't finalized all the details yet. So just have your friends like apply and then reach out to me. I'll give them like a special code or something. So that's it. Yeah, and I'll pass it back to Hamesh to continue the strategy talk.
awesome. First of all, again, we don't want to like do anything for the cohort. I think this community remains as is, and that's how we want to learn, grow, teach. And cohort is another way for you to go and learn a lot. It's just much more fast paced. It starts from basics and builds on it. You get a lot of hands on. Most of people here just came from that cohort, so I won't brag more because they will just say, Mahesh, we just did it, we are already here. So I will continue, and we'll continue talking about this for a couple of times as we go. But let's start making progress. Can you see my screen, all of you? You could see how I was copying things here and there. Awesome. So first of all, read this blog. That's your assignment, and we'll meet in 5 minutes. Let's quickly read this so we all have at least same page on what the announcement is. And I need not to talk. I can talk something which I am good at, which is analyze these announcements and put them in some buckets. While you do that, I will create the framework which we can go after. So this is the blog. This has all the announcement. Could you please share the link to the article? Yes, it's right here, Varad. Access to the link is not working. Access to the link. Which link is not working? This should work.
It's the new one. While we're reading, I'm sure you can fix that though. The one that you just pasted in the docs, Google.
That's not supposed to work because I'm yet not done yet on that link. So just give me 2 minutes, and while you do this, I will be fixing or putting things, and then it will work. It's intentional. So just read. I have read it, and I will see you in 3 minutes. 3 minutes. 11. Let's take 11:15. We'll start at 11:15. 6 minutes from now. Read it. Reread it. If you just joined, we are reading this document, which is in chat. It's a blog on build announcements. I think I'm good. Everybody good? We can come back. If you just joined, we read a document which talked about everything Microsoft has just released in their build conference. We have some people who work for Microsoft. They should be very excited. And I'm wearing their t-shirt just to show that I'm part of their team today. This is the t-shirt. It has a story to it. This was a conference in AI and IoT in Taipei. I went there. This is where actually I did my first stage talk. Microsoft was really kind and nice to me. Uh, it happened to be that I used to like giving these, but I never talked to like a stage audience. So I was part of the keynote there. And after that, the marketing guy came to me and said that, hey, actually, we want you to become our what they have these. And I was a dev then software engineer. Half of my team was in Taipei, so I was happened to be there. And accidentally, they knew that like the guy who was running the engineer VP knew me, so he said, Maishka, why don't you go do this talk? And then I did it. And then he came to me and said that, why don't you become the influencer for us? We will set up your brand. And they had a plan for me. And then this we will put you into a different pattern in this, and you will become this. And I actually thought about it for a good amount of time. And I decided not to do that. That's a decision I made. uh, and that's how I thought like what I wanted to do. And from there actually I went into product, uh, because I thought maybe I really want to build products. I don't want to be an influencer, but maybe there are other things that I have which can be useful. So this t-shirt is that pivot. This is the t-shirt I used in that first storytelling or first session we did. I keep it for only few sessions. Or you can think of this, I can't use anymore because it has this big as Microsoft logo on it. I can only use it for sessions like this. Having said that, let's see. Microsoft Build was exciting. Anything, Swati, that stood out for you in Microsoft Build? Swati can say, now I'm not even listening to you, Mahesh.
No, I
Anything?
mean, I think a lot of exciting updates, but I'm just fascinated by the push in the small language model space. So they'd had like 5.3 mini released last month in April, and then with different context windows, etc. And now with multimodal as well with Vision, 5.3 Vision. So I think that's a very interesting area that, there's a big push. So.
Awesome. We are doing a lab this Wednesday only for the people in the cohort, where we will actually go and train 5.3 with latest new fine tune 5.3.
Oh,
So the
nice.
latest model. Yeah, that's pretty exciting. So I thought I will turn this around. Last time we talked a lot about like what we are doing and how we are doing. Today I thought maybe we'll learn together. So I wanted to do something little different. Let's see how that goes. So now you know what they have decided. They have announced. This is all Microsoft has announced. I would highly recommend you to subscribe for this build session. Watch the sessions, do the exercises. That's where I think you're setting the roadmap and discussions for pretty much what's going to come next year. Most of the announcement they did is not even going to come till end of this year. So you're pretty much set like what's possible with AI. And I generally do this for build. I do it for GTC. I do it for Google I/O, and I do for Cloud Next for reInvent for AWS. If you do this, I think you're pretty covered. Most of these are repeated ideas, but you start building these patterns in your head, which is like what is important, what is not, who's playing where, and what's possible, what's not possible. First that, and second is where can you play or your company should play. I don't want Apple WWDC, Harsha. I know it's a great event. I never got excited by the hardware. I worked in hardware for like for 7 to 8 years of my career. It was just too slow for me. And I know now Apple WWDC doesn't look like a hardware event. It looks like a very software specific event. It's just not in my radar. But if you recommend, people should go watch that also. But I will start. If I can do one, I will go with GTC, because GTC sets the North Star for AI for me. and then I work for like the company I'm working for. I need not to watch there because I know what's going on, but then I at least look for close competitors, and for me that always is like AWS and Azure. Awesome. Having said that, today I have a very different view of the world for you. I'm not sharing my screen yet, right? So let's share my screen and let's get started. Let's do some stuff. I think it would be cool. So what I thought is, I wrote the mission. Mission is, uh, our mission is to empower every person in every organization on the planet to achieve more. That's Microsoft. You just read the releases. Can somebody tell me who's their P0 customer persona? Who's Microsoft going after if that's their mission? Who are they trying to excite in this build? Who's the audience? What persona? Should I give you some? Divya just entered, so we should ask Divya. So can somebody tell me?
Developers.
Developers, right? That's
Okay.
what Balmer said once when I was there. He said developers. That's the three things we target. We want to focus on three things, and they are developers. It's a platform company, and they go after developers. What kind of developers? If given a choice, they can go after experienced researchers, ML engineers, or out of college developers. If I break it down into three, where they want to go.
It
Let's say
seems to me that they were going for like newer
5 years,
developer.
5 years and above, new out of college grad, or 10 years PhD, and then I'm doing research. I'm building the latest, greatest model for building new OpenAI. Who is my P0 again? In this, developer is P0, and then inside that, who is that?
I guess is 1 and 2. So the 0 to 5 and 5 to 10, but not necessarily the PhDs.
Out of those two,
Yeah, the 5 years and above, I'm thinking it through the lens of GitHub using user engagement, and I think those developers would use that more to check in their codes and stuff.
5 years, 0 years. Anybody else disagree with Sham? Disagree. I disagree, but I want somebody else to disagree. Means I agree. Means developers are like, I think it's a very good answer. Developer is their key point, and they go after enterprise. Enterprise generally don't hire out of college graduates; they hire experienced ones. So the answer is kind of right, but you look at the announcement they have made. You look at like half of those are like no code things. Like they are saying now you can do it with like less codes. We have taken the APIs out. We are building the copilots of the world. Is that shifting or not? That's what I'm trying to get to. Is that changing? Like let's say 0 to 1 year experience, right? And this is 5+. Is that shifting with AI? Can Microsoft go after these? Because this is like they're like 2, 3+ is like their ideal persona. But if you look at the announcement, it's little different for me, and I see a pattern across our industry that it's now possible to go after which we couldn't go after earlier because it just required too much training. People, as Sham was talking about, at least you need to know how to check in your stuff and all. But GitHub has made that GitHub is kind of requirement in college. If you did CS degree, you know how to use GitHub. Like that's like kind of taken these days. Let's say that's true. Then we will look at their announcement and come back to this question. Does that make sense? I listed for all of you the key announcements here. And what I want to do is for next 5 minutes, I want to see somebody ask you like, hey, what is the strategy? Build the strategy for my company. And I use this simple framework, which is like, what is working for the company? What is not working for the company? What is uniquely their position to, right? What is their core? And then I say, what's new happening in the world, which can impact their core business, which may not be related to what they're good at or not. And then we all say hi to Sumitra because she just joined. So hi Sumitra, but we're doing strategy for Microsoft, and we have gone through the blog, and now we are doing the workshop. And this I was just explaining. Can we just quickly put some bullet points here? I won't break you. We'll just write. I will write for you. But let's see what's working for Microsoft, what's not working for Microsoft, what's new in the world they operate, which is they are a platform tech company which provides the largest, biggest platform for enterprises to build stuff on. They have Office, they have Azure, they have Windows. So very enterprise focused company. They do not have any consumer specific. Anybody remember any consumer product that Microsoft is good at? Like really makes a dent in their quarterly earnings. Xbox I can think of, but it's such a small one, right? Like Xbox. And look at, yeah, we'll talk about that, right? There are few things that came out. I can do really good with these analysis because I understand Microsoft, I think, the most of the companies that I understand. Okay, what's working for Microsoft?
So I think what's working is that they have a lot of partners. So they have a lot of companies that are models that and availability. They have kind of a mature kind of and more complete cloud infrastructure that probably more mature organizations are on, not necessarily new organizations. Those are the two I got.
Yeah, so I want to make them more specific. I will make them more specific, Dadapia, by saying they have a partnership with OpenAI. Because if you look at other partnership, they have like Mistral, they have Meta, AWS also has those. So and Vertex also has it. So they don't have real advantage there. But what's working for them is an exclusive partnership with OpenAI, where they have said that you cannot partner with anybody else. It's like iPhone on AT&T, right? If you, iPhone is the most demanded hardware, then it only available for first year was on AT&T, and that gave AT&T a very good headway into getting new acquisitions or establish themselves as the first a real threat to Verizon business. Great. Then Azure mature, and also like they have the cloud infrastructure, but they have the cloud infrastructure which has really good uh, AI infrastructure, I will say, AI mature infrastructure. Because why? Because OpenAI actually used and matured their system and show how training can be done on a multi-node clusters, which is not trivial. And there's a lot of like changes that you have to go do to make these things happen, and you have to improve a lot of reliability, stability. They have done it because first they copy pasted what Nvidia had. So what Microsoft, if you look at Microsoft cloud, they took exactly what Nvidia announces and host them or buy them as is in their data centers. So they copy paste whatever the interconnects Nvidia provides, whatever GPU. The trade-off they make is it's really costly. They take the highest vendor at the highest cost. If you go to AWS, or if you go to, I won't say the name, but other cloud providers, but they have their own mix of things. They won't have the same interconnect because it was cheaper for them to get the interconnect, which is not the latest greatest. Or they will have their own chip combination. Like for Google, it would be TPUs. That's where they matured the ecosystem because it's their homegrown. For AWS, it's and Trainiums. But that's working for them. Anything else working for them? One more thing I'm looking for. Garima, say it. Garima is like, I'm not even listening to you, Mahesh. What?
I mean, are you talking in general or just from this article?
Yeah, no, means your knowledge plus what you just read in build.
I mean,
They have a wide set of enterprise users that are non-developers as well, and that reach into a lot of non-developer and like normal business user.
I think Windows and PC, it has good distribution. So I feel with Copilots that would sort of leverage their existing
They have a
distribution.
leading Copilot business, right? So they are the first one which actually was able to release AI product which enhances an enterprise offering. So everybody last year, what happened is once ChatGPT was released, it was such a awesome consumer-facing product. But what is the version of that looks like in enterprise? And they went after Copilot. Thank you, Shushmita, for writing. Actually, I will rewrite here, and that's where you saw they also have. So enterprise is working for them, we know, but I'm just looking from AI lens, like what is working for them, and they have
in
a
terms
partnership.
of data, Office 365 would be a wealth of data for them, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of people have data, right? Facebook has data and all, but is it working for them? Were they able to convert that data into something else? Because the challenge with enterprise data is it's very proprietary. You can't use that data. That advantage I will give to people like consumers, like Facebook and Google are a little bit more placed because you signed the agreement with them saying, I don't care about my data. Enterprise has not signed that agreement with Microsoft, and Microsoft never actually says that I will even offer that agreement to them. So that remains a moat. But there's one investment in build that you will see that how they are positioning or playing it. We will put it. What's not working? I think we have good enough. So data in SharePoint, and SharePoint is like storage inside your company that Microsoft provides you. Okay, what's not working? Let's quickly go through that, and then we'll go through these announcements and try to see where they fit in. So here I want you to think some of them which is not working may not be even announced on build, right? Didn't you see HoloLens? No announcement, right? Seems like they are not going to play that area, right? So they had this huge thing when I was there. That was the thing, which is everybody asked me, "Are you working in the HoloLens team, Mahesh?" And I said no, because I don't like hardware that much. And it was the coolest thing. Uh, uh, that VP also got AI charter. So somehow for a few days I reported in chain to him, but hopefully they changed it and then it went out. So no, HoloLens is not working. Hardware is not working, like HoloLens, Xbox, no announcement. Means Xbox is working, but not the focus maybe. Anything else that's not working for Microsoft? AI?
Bing search.
Search is not working. Bing is not working. Like Bing is not like the core of their strategy. Makes sense. Do they have a large language model? Like Microsoft has Gemini, uh, AWS has Titan. Do they have something? They don't have any large language model. So if partnerships don't work, they are gonna go to. That's the threat last year, right? You saw that when OpenAI had this trouble, Microsoft has no way to figure that out or like what to do, because if OpenAI would have gone to dust, let's say if Sam Altman was fired, or if anything happens to OpenAI, their disadvantage goes away because they do not have anything in-house that is working for them today. Does that make sense? Anybody want to dispute that? No? Then I will keep going. No large language model for them, no in-house. Is their data working? Because data is like Databricks and Snowflake world. Do they have anything that offer in data processing? Because let's say data processing is the thing. Do they have a framework that is working? Nobody has a framework that's working except Google. Framework means PyTorch, TensorFlow, JAX. These are the ones which people use to build machine learning models, train them. So if you have that framework, that you have developers who use that framework, then you have ecosystem, and then you can replace things behind the scenes because you can tightly integrate your hardware. This framework supports. So you have that advantage. Do they have a chip? Do they have AI chip? I don't heard anything that is working for them so far. What's new? What's changed since last year? Agents. Last year was all gaga on how can we do copilots. This year is agents. We discussed it. People who know me, when OpenAI decided in November, we did a session 2 weeks before that, and I said, hopefully agents. That's where I made my bet. You can watch that video. I was wrong many times, but that time I was right. OpenAI came up with agents. And since then, it's looking more agentic world. Agents to personas. So Devon AI of the world, which is saying, no, we don't need the copilot. We actually need a copilot. We actually need to offload this work. And somebody else should take an SLA of writing code and solving my problem. I don't want to deal with copilots. I really want AI to replace and automate the full job. So that's new. People are actually doing this or talking about this year. Nobody was doing that last year. It was more like we will build AGI one day. But makers of Devon.ai actually went ahead and did that. And I have seen others which are trying to replace marketing agents and others. So that's new. Anything else new this year?
We are just talking about the products here or new initiatives as well. And
We're
what's
just
new?
talking like what's happening in AI world, what's new in AI world. We're trying
So
to
I think
analyze the
there's
strategy
one
of.
interesting piece of partnership with Khan Academy.
Yeah, so partnerships are always there. We're not talking like specifically Microsoft or announcement. We're talking what's new in the ecosystem,
Got it.
and then we will try to fill in what build announcement is and where those strategic announcements fit in these boxes. That will help us think through. So right now we're just looking generic, what's working for Microsoft overall in the ecosystem. SLMs are new. Last year it was a whole gaga on let's bring the largest, biggest model. This year it seems like people are talking about at least SLMs. Uh, Apple is throwing their weight on building the smallest model which will work on devices and then making it open source. So that's new.
I think I have one more new thing to add to it. I think the Copilot Plus software with their AI-ready computer is also new. I think what's powerful is it's a new area they are branding into, right? In the old way, people used to rely on other creative or editing software. Like now they are also entering into that field. So it's additional revenue for them.
Yeah. So AI powered PCs or AI powered hardware is new thing. Like it's not like consumer. I think the consumer is new. On cloud, it is going on since like even before ChatGPT. So last year we accelerated a lot of investment into who is building like cloud scale AI hardware. One this year new is that how can you actually bring it to the devices? That's where you are seeing SLMs plus the hardware. So good point, Shilan. What's their core? I think we have enough. What is their core? They can execute enterprises better than pretty much anybody except AWS. I'm just saying to make Sham happy. Uh, but I think they have execution and mindshare on enterprises. What's their core? Anything else? They have VS Code. They have low code tools, low code, no code revolution through Power Platform. Please watch Power Platform. It's really cool how you can actually, if you're working for an enterprise and if you're a Microsoft customer, look at Power Platforms. I really found them very empowering when I was there. Uh, kind of miss it in other places. AWS, I missed it. But you can actually drag and drop and build workflows and automate them without writing single line of code. And you can automate a lot of your company workflows. I think that remains their code. They have always gone ahead and made the developer tool accessible to the uh, next citizen developer. I think citizen developer is remains their code, which is like not experienced but citizen developer. But eventually it comes out to be that. Azure. Okay. Now
What is execute enterprises? What does that mean?
execute an enterprises world. So their core is they execute faster than anybody. They have an enterprise market share, which allows them to build ecosystem or execute faster. If they have a product, they can execute and release it to enterprise faster than any other platform.
Oh, because of the install base of their
They
footprint.
have install base, you have already agreed, you have licensing going on, you have legal, everybody have Microsoft connections. So if they release a Copilot, it's just a release away. If you
Okay.
want to do the startup first, you have to figure out their legal department, and their legal department need to approve your software, and that will take 6 months to 2 years time.
Okay.
So that was I meant that that's their core. They execute. If it comes to enterprises, it's really they are like kind of the 1,000-pound gorilla in that space. Azure, like building those cores. So now we know. Now we know the company. Can somebody tell me what announcement they did in build, which is solving for what's working for them? They're doubling down on these. What's working for them? I can make it easy. GPT-4o. They have the partnership. The model is out. It's exciting. 22% up on app subscriptions on OpenAI since they released OpenAI 4o. So now more people consume most of the things on apps. and OpenAI has 22% more subscribers since they released after a week of them releasing OpenAI 4.0. That means people want lower latency, multimodality, and it's a kind of niche to release it. So that's one. Anybody else? You want to fill it? Please go ahead. You have edit access? No.
They also announced a new AI capabilities on Teams, right?
Yeah, Teams Copilot. Where will you place it? Is it something that's working for them? Copilot, Teams, Teams Copilot. Why not give Copilot to Copilot is working. They have the second or first largest. Somebody can correct me. Is Teams is the number one enterprise platform better than they were competing with Zoom and Slack on that
Yeah,
chat
I
for
think they overtook Slack in active users over the month.
they have
No?
the largest platform there. Why not infuse AI in that? And rather than fireflies of the world or autopilots, and I have to read them out, just the world will maybe use Teams and then only one player. And now you have a copilot which can subscribe, describe, take action items, also give you documents and give insights and create a graph of talks, because that's how people are making decisions in most of the companies if they are not AWS, because AWS Sham writes a lot, nobody else writes a lot. So why not Teams write for them so they can be as sharp as other companies which write a lot? So that's a great
Right, you're
investment.
right. That's the vision. Actually, the Teams Copilot is like right now, if you go to Teams, you can go and see like an individual basis. I can do work with M365 Copilot, but I can't work in a team setting. So the vision is like having like a Auto.ai, infused in your meetings in every setting and pretty much enhance the productivity of the whole team.
Thank you very
So
much.
yeah.
So it's
It's
working for
exciting.
them. Teams is working for them. Now make Teams plus AI combined and
Yes.
create huge moat against Zoom of the world,
Yes.
against Slacks of the world, and now just dominate this market. Even meet.google.com
Absolutely.
take
And
head
get
on.
it all in the flow of work. So basically, like as PMs, right, we have a hard time. A lot of times we are spread across so many initiatives. So, this assistant kind of helping the whole team surface the top priorities rather than we reiterating it again and again. So it's exciting.
Yeah. So that's exactly the strategy. It's working for us. Why not build a Teams Copilot?
Yeah.
Anything else? I think the whole Copilot stack, right? Can I put it here? Is Copilot working for Microsoft?
It's interesting. There is just so much Copilot everywhere right now. So, there is like custom Copilot. So you can have like a HR driven Copilot where you can go and search for your, ask like HR policy question or pay stubs. You can have a support Copilot. Plus you have M365 Copilot. There are like 30 plus Copilots. But how precise they are, how accurate they are, how context driven they are, that always. So this is where I think we are working on now more, is like how can we make sure that that the user experience is good enough, because a lot of times right now it's basics, you can just summarize it or you can just do some prompts, but a lot of times it will just say, hey, I can't do it because it's not in my context. So yeah.
You're
But
part of
yeah,
the
the Copilot is working, if you ask me that. But there is a lot of user feedback also that we are working through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. I think so. That's like something that is working because they have the mind share of the customer. People like
Yeah.
kind of most of the people have started saying every other thing as a co-pilot, right? If you start utter AI, just may say that it's a co-pilot for your voice calls. So co-pilot is becoming that operating system. So when I read it, I saw a world where actually they don't talk about Windows anymore. They don't talk about Office anymore in build. They talk about Copilot. And then they say Copilot for Office, Copilot for Windows, Copilot for Teams. Seems like eventually you will pay for Copilot and you won't pay for operating system, or you won't pay for Office. Maybe it's a Copilot 365 in 3 to 5 years. That's how when I looked at their announcement and I see like how they were going and like infusing it everywhere, which somebody just confirmed. Maybe there is a world where you will buy Copilot 365 subscription, and then you need not to worry about a lot of other things, and you're paying like $100 for a Copilot, and the boring hand-coded stuff takes a back seat where you go check, but mostly the things are done by AI tools, which are Copilots. That
And
was
yeah,
little
you're right,
That's
Mahesh.
visionary.
Actually, like right now, if you buy M365 subscription, slowly there'll be these extensions and plugins that they call it plugins in Microsoft. So basically, those plugins integrate to a Word and Excel, a PowerPoint, Viva product, da da da. So it will have more context, but you are buying one license with one interface, kind of, and you can operate across product lines.
Yeah,
So
and
That's
that's
a
what I
question
love.
I
Right?
had.
yeah.
Sorry, I had a
Good.
follow-up question. Is that one license? Because it seems like most enterprises are fusing a Gen AI capability into an existing product or a feature, which already has a base subscription. So now customers are just paying a premium on that base subscription with this Gen AI capabilities. Is that where things are heading towards? Because it seems like Office 365, etc., already have a subscription license offering. And now once the ROI becomes relevant with co-pilots and all, they will just charge a premium on top of that, right? Is that where things are heading is the question from a pricing perspective?
Yeah, I think right now, yes, there are multiple license subscriptions, and you will find that if you need Copilot capability, you might have to pay, like, depending on whether you are an NDA customer or not, you might have to pay the premium pricing. But I think over time, they are
Yeah.
working on figuring it out, like how to balance it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sham and Garima, right? There are two things, right? One is like the world we live in today. The
Yeah.
world we live in is people are going to pay for basic Microsoft Office 365, and then they will pay $10 for Copilot. But I was just imagining a world where everybody start using a Copilot in 2 years, and then I will be paying for Copilot, and I will be choosing whether I really need like a project offering in Office 365, and I can take project out, and maybe I can take some other things out, like which are not I use or I take out. So the bundle becomes Copilot is like don't make a choice. I think the race is that how can Copilot become as important as Docs and Excel? That if
Yeah.
I take it out of the offering doesn't exist. It just collapses on its base. That's the race, in my opinion, and that's how I felt listening to them. Like when they introduced extensions that looked like operating system to me, like Office and Office extensions, and then Windows and Windows extensions, and then they said we are opening up an NPU, and now we are going to build this another announcement about Phi Silica State, this SLM, which they are giving part of Windows, and they are offering APIs so that you can build a small tools on top of it, which are AI tools. So now they can start saying this as a Copilot platform, and now you are building your own custom Copilots, which are apps, and now you're building this AI first operating system. So this is the beginning of that in my assessment, which is like in operating system you will get a base model, and it's not today, right, Sham? I'm just saying next year this time you might have an operating system which basically has AI model as a part of the operating system, and the apps you build comes when you install the operating system or use the operating system, and then you have these custom co-pilots which do different jobs for you rather than apps which you have to use to get the job done. So that's where I was taking you, and then you pay for that offering, right? Because then you will not have the choice which you were asking, which is, hey, can I buy Office 365 and choose whether I will have AI or not? AI is Office 365, AI is Windows, and you choose whether you want to buy Office app on top of it or not. Office and Bing are not coming free, but AI is what you're paying for. And if you don't want to take it, it's okay. Can they reach there? That's what I saw. So coming back, I think Copilot, I will put it here. Uh, what excited me was extensions again, uh, partnerships, which is just proving that this works. And I think Khan Academy is mostly like a buzz thing. I don't see anything like substantial there, to be honest. But Teams Copilot was a big deal for me. So that's where Copilot connectors, recorders, and then somebody said studio. I think I put it somewhere. No? Okay, I put it here because I put it in the cloud world. So custom copilots, general availability, you build your own. And let's take these, right? So this is what also working for them. Let's see what can go into what's working and what's new for them here. So if I put it here, out of these four, so what's not working for them is they don't have GPUs, and they are again playing a game of diversifying. So I would say at least we know they want to play this game, right? So at least Microsoft want to play a game where they don't want to be tied to one ecosystem. So they are investing in two things. So this is what they are saying. This doesn't work for us. We don't have AI chips, but we are working with AMD and we are building our own. It's a long-term strategy. May or may not play out how we want it to be. But it does came up. And I think this is one thing they want to double down on what is not working out of all these. And also data processing. So you saw that, I think most of you missed it, which is they are showing real-time intelligence on large-scale data and connector and partnership with, since they always had that partnership with Databricks and Snowflake, but this is their data offering. It's called Azure Fabric or Microsoft Fabric. That allows them to process large-scale data across multiple clusters, clean it and post it, and so that you can train your models. And they are building something which Google had with BigQuery. Now this is their first release of real-time intelligence. So watch out for that. That didn't work in past for them. They did not had really awesome data processing tools, or at least the mind share of people who do data processing. I think Azure Fabric is their chance there. And then building an horizontal ecosystem across Intel, AMD, and NVIDIA seems like a strategy. From here, also, for me, data fabric, we covered. Another thing, right? This was interesting. Microsoft is actually going in a very different direction than other players on this idea of building smaller LLMs, right? Nobody else is like giving as much focus to SLMs that Microsoft is giving. Like if you look at AWS reInvent, they're talking about their Titan thing and all. But here Microsoft is saying, hey, we're not going to play that game. We are not going after a large language model. OpenAI works great. If not, then we are making partnerships with others. But we believe a world where this SLM will work. So we are going to cut this, where we're going to play and how we're going to win. So we're going to play in a very different world of SLMs, which is models which are less than billion parameters in size. We will make them hyper accurate, also open them up for ecosystem to play, and we will see if that works for us.
Yeah, Mahesh, I had a question there. Is that more because they're sort of betting on the playing on the edge, basically smaller devices, PCs, etc., or like why is there a
I think what
shift?
they're saying, so the devices they are choosing, right? If you take the edge devices, so they're not as small as that it can run on like your phones. 1 billion parameter is still huge. It will require you to have at least a high powered cloud TPU, which only runs on a enterprise scale hardware, cannot run on PC. But what they believe is, which you were learning also when you actually build these products, you will learn that large language models are good for generic things. But in enterprise, you cannot build generic products which have generic accuracy of 50 to 70%. You want to build precise and solve end-to-end problems with very high accuracy. For that, they see a world where you need to train the model on your data. That's not going away. That's one hypothesis. If that's not going away, then if you need to train, will you train a large model, which is huge like GPT, 4 trillion parameter model? Or can you actually do it with a smaller model? Even if it stays in cloud, or it can run on one machine. They are saying we don't have that, the largest, biggest, greatest model which can solve world hunger or build AGI. Let's not play that game. Let's play the game of actually solving enterprise problems today with smaller models, with a base model in form of Phi, and create that market share, build end-to-end apps on those, and eventually, if SLM wins, great. If this large language model wins, we have OpenAI to cover us. So risk is all the if OpenAI builds AGI, then they have a huge risk. Maybe SLMs won't be needed because we have a highest accurate large model which can solve really with high accuracy lot of problems. That doesn't exist today. If you have seen pretty much like 10 benchmarks that all Anthropic, OpenAI, or Gemini uses, and they are showing like 1% incremental on those. We have not seen a breakthrough beyond what GPT 3.5 was already able to do in last 1 year. So their bet is like, we can't play that game. Why not let's pick small models, which we were doing anyways. And now let's make them the big deal. And for enterprise, let's build workloads on those while we have some other model. So that's, I think, the bets. The bets they're not taking is, I don't think they are playing a lot with Bing and Xbox or HoloLens. Those are gone. I don't think they're going to play a lot on the AI PC also. I think it will be it was cool and I saw it, but I didn't see a lot of ecosystem around it. I see the announcement. I see that's a good pivot for Surface because it's $1 billion business for them. And if they have a hardware, how they should show the world how to build an AI first hardware. But after that, I didn't see a lot of, like I saw the recall feature, which allows you to go back and see what you did with your PC like 1 hour before, 1 day before, and ask questions like which site I was on or what I this did on Teams yesterday. But no like end-to-end strategy integration. Seems like a blub on the outside. Like Copilot was integrated into cloud and cloud was integrated into Copilot because they have custom Copilots which you can use AI Studio to go build. And then you have Copilot as a product which they are monetizing by selling subscriptions. So these are powered by large models and also powered by small models. The small models are going into Windows as a API which people will build on. So this looks like a coherent strategy. And then I looked at this blub, which is like, oh, we took Intel NPU and we gave you recall on Surface. So I don't know. I also don't know. I will give you my opinion because don't know doesn't help you. That's the job I'm doing. I don't think this hardware is, I don't know. I don't think this is new. I don't believe that this is where they're going to play a lot. And I can be wrong. I want to be wrong. But my understanding is that they're not done any innovation here. They're not investing in any new AI chip technology for PC. They're taking what Intel gives them. And they're going to show that what software can do. And I believe it's kind of sad end for their hardware ecosystem eventually, 3 to 5 years. I don't see them building any threat to Apple or any other hardware player out there. That's my take. Happy to be challenged on this. We have 2 minutes for anybody to challenge me.
I have a few on this one.
Go
On
ahead.
the
Yeah, this is a
customer-
very. I'm happy to be challenged on this.
Yeah, so I think it's just like any old company, right? You have to give, and Microsoft, they founded their business on PCs. This is just a way to give people a new reason to buy PCs, tablets again. And it's an upsell strategy because like once I get you to buy a piece of hardware, I may not actually care about that piece of the hardware because it's like once I get you, it's all the other software on top of it, I can sell you. But curious what you think about that, Phil.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. But what they allowed is a software feature. If you want to build a hardware business like Surface, you want to announce like a design which is surface specific. Whatever they did, I can copy. Dell can take it tomorrow and release a hardware on that, and you will have a AI PC powered by Dell or HP or Lenovo. So there's no, what I didn't see is that they are investing in AI hardware which is proprietary for Surface
Yeah,
or
that's why I agree with you. I don't think,
design, right?
yeah.
Because if you look at Surface, right, Surface was this design lab which was going after Apple on like we will design the like this folded tablet, the keypad that detaches. Nobody can just copy it, right? It's really hard to copy and then build it. It's just like it's going after the first pen which you can write on your PC. They came up with all those ideas and actually build it, and I didn't see any of that. And that's why my take was that they are building gonna focus more on the software layer, on the operating system layer, but beneath that, the design and hardware and how to build the fastest, greatest hardware, that's going away. That I didn't see happen. So consumer AI powered hardware, I don't think that's new. I think it's again, they are going to rely on Intel or Qualcomm to provide it. That's what I saw, an ARM powered PC, an ARM powered Cobalt. So that's not their strategy.
And
Again,
Mahesh, you might be right, but they might be giving design requirements for a AI PC, and I think that's where they've been focusing on, is like, hey, you need to give us these hardware requirements for us to put the Copilot on it, and that's how we are going to license or provide you with keys and stuff like that, right? And I think that's where their strategy is playing, is how can you make sure to design the right AI PC.
no, I 100% agree. And that's where I'm saying that if you are a design lab, which basically say how to design a hardware, a reference hardware company, that's what they are going to make
Yes,
Surface.
yes.
Because, but I saw a very different Surface last 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
That was like a Surface which are saying I will take market share from Apple on hardware.
Yeah.
And I will challenge Apple on hardware and build better designed tablets and better designs on laptops. With that said, let me sum it up. So today we took a very different format where you get to talk a lot and look at from the strategy ends. But we analyzed that how large language models plus the copilots is like a proven technology and is ready to monetize. And that's where we show a lot of announcements like Team Copilot, faster, tighter integration with 4.0, the latest model that they had. And we also saw that they are playing in SLM world. So small language models are going to become this thing, because if Microsoft goes after them, it's just the ecosystem. A lot of their customers are telling that that's what they want. Another thing that we saw in the announcement is these connectors and evolution of Copilot into an operating system. It's little immature or nascent at this stage, but see more iterations on that. And then see that the latest and greatest thing is they have a partnership with Devon AI. Have enabled AI Studio to build agents, which is the least offering they had. Everybody had agents, but not build or Azure. And now they have agents too. So with that, I leave you and I will say best of luck, Microsoft. Chilan, do you want to close or you're good?
I think we are all good. Just reiterate the message from the beginning. So if your friends or are interested to join this cohort, or if you are in this community and you didn't have a chance to get in the first one, applied, and then just reach out to me. And that's it.
Bye. Take care. Hopefully, we'll meet another next Saturday. And next Saturday, what are we doing? Next Saturday, we'll tell you what are we doing. I think I wanted to do something very exciting next Saturday. I moved it because I want to talk about build, but it's not coming on top of my mind. Please look out for the announcements. Again, it's always great to see you all, and we'll see you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.